Hi Capricorn, and welcome to your full moon in Sagittarius reading. This is going to be a quick tarot reading about what the full moon in Sagittarius is leaving you. It is intended for Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus placements, or those who have strong Capricorn placements in their chart. It's going to be quick, but it should be informative, and it should ultimately help confirm the road that you're on. These kinds of tarot readings, I'm not necessarily about getting predictions. It's more about helping you understand your options. You always have free will, and things can always change. Based on your current energy, we're going to have a look at where things could go and what you can do to help steer yourself towards your best possible outcome. Spirit, what is Capricorn gaining from the full moon in Sagittarius? Oops, we got some cards. I won't take them, I'll just flip them back. What is the full moon in Sagittarius leaving behind for Capricorn, please, Spirit? Yes, please. Thank you. I definitely need 5 cards for you. All right, so you are a cardinal sign. And your cardinal energy doesn't always like all the mutable energy that's been occurring lately. So depending on your other placements, mutable energy tries to encourage you to relax, to accept what you can't control, and to ultimately embrace the changes that are happening for you by reacting appropriately, staying grounded in your present moment, and not getting too worried about what the future holds. Otherwise, you're going to stress yourself out too much. Sagittarius tries to be optimistic and show you how much opportunity you have to create, while the full moon encourages you to release and to shed layers or baggage or beliefs or feelings that may be standing in the way of your new cycle. So where we're at now, the full moon in Sagittarius has well and truly ended. We are in a waning moon that is coming into a new moon. So we're about to have our new opportunities present, but before they can fully ground in our lives, we do need to release, we need to find closure, and we need to ultimately process what happened the month before. So let's see what the tarot is saying. In the middle of your spread with the 9 of Wands reversed, you're ultimately being forced to examine yourself. Right now, this is a self card. It's about your energy. It's about the amount of effort you put into things. And it's about the way that you see yourself when things don't go the way that they were originally intended. And so what the full moon is leaving for you is a chance to try to examine whether your self expectations are healthy, or whether at times they stop you from enjoying the process. This 9 of Wands energy reversed is ultimately about being able to let go when things aren't happening the way that you wanted it to. It's also about knowing when to redirect your energy, because if you're not careful, you will burn out. So instead of being too proud and just trying to push ahead, ultimately burning out and taking on way too much responsibility, the full moon in Sagittarius is leaving you with this awareness of how you need to be more careful about what you sign up for and about how much pressure you put on your own shoulders. And it's your habit. People may come to you and you may, want to point the blame, but ultimately, for this to be a 9, it's you that has the sovereignty and the free will to say yes or no. And so this full moon is trying to help you understand how to better accept the right amount of responsibility, how to have healthier expectations of yourself, and how to better use your energy, your capacity. So this is ultimately about working smarter, not harder. And this is also about trying to understand where you're coming from. What is this about? Now, this is pretty deep. It doesn't necessarily have to be a full reflective episode, but something happened before and during the full moon that caused you to feel either burnt out or pushed to your limits. And now you're in a period where the only person you can truly hold accountable is yourself. So we need to make some changes. Let's have a look at what some of these changes are. With the Three of Swords reversed, actually both of these cards indicate tensions in your relationships, tensions between people who make decisions on your behalf, especially with the Three of Swords reversed. This can feel like someone else chose to do something that involved you, and now you either have to pick up the pieces or you have to reconcile with the fact that this isn't what you wanted, it's not what you asked for, it's not what you signed up for, but it's not going to change. So we've just got to deal with it. Something happened during the full moon that caused you to feel a little heartbroken, devastated. You may have felt like the decisions of somebody else caused you to feel loss, caused you to miss out on something that you really wanted, took something away from you that you were expecting, that you were hoping for, and it ultimately led you towards wanting to just isolate yourself, wanting to distance yourself, and that's probably where you're at now. And so the full moon in Sagittarius is leaving you with this crossroads of what do we do now? My threes, for me, this is just how I read tarot, are about expansion and creating. The Three of Swords is not always the news you want to either deliver or hear. And in your case, it's news that you heard. It's not what you wanted to hear. But it is your responsibility to do something for yourself. So you have to be careful about how you react, and you have to be very careful about what you say, whether you say anything. For this card to be reversed, you're still trying to figure out, do I say something or do I just accept that this has happened and move forward? Now, whether you choose to have a conversation or not, you have to decide how you're going to move forward. Your actions are most important. And that is what the full moon is leaving behind for you to focus on. How are you picking up the pieces of your life? What kind of normalcy are you going to create for yourself? What kind of routine are you going to put in place to help you feel more safe, more secure, because this is an unstable energy? And what kind of practices are you going to do to help you feel better while you process this? Because your feelings are also impacted. And if you do all of that and you still don't feel better, then you really need to think about what you're going to say, either to this person, to somebody else, or to a professional. Now, the Five of Wands is also a card of conflict and tension, but more so energetic. Rather than a decision or some sort of conversation happening about our future that we weren't a part of and about what we had to do, this Five of Wands is ultimately tension between a lot of people, because everybody has a different opinion. A lot of people are competing to either be the loudest voice in the room, to be the best, to be heard, or simply to be right. And the full moon in Sagittarius is leaving you with this tension so that you can be more aware of what other people are doing and where they're coming from. Is this the kind of energy you want in your life? Do you want this competitive energy? Do you want these loud people who are constantly trying to be the best or be right or be seen? There's something here about your lifestyle, your connections, and the way that you're choosing to invest your energy that was very competitive, that felt very energetically jarring, like it was just tense, either from big personalities or just, again, people wanting to be right, wanting to share their 2 cents and to be seen as right by the majority. If this is something you're going to continue to do because it's your work and your work is just very competitive, You have to start thinking about ways to manage that tension and that stress. What sets you apart? How can you have more healthy outlets so that you're not just putting all of your goodness into this and creating a really charged energy around you that is confrontational, that is impacting the peace in your home because you come home and it's there. You really need to find ways to try to balance that out and to create changes that are less either tense or confrontational, or just that involve these people having less access to you outside of certain environments. Because really, it ties into the Nine of Wands again, about how these expectations that you have of yourself need to be more realistic. Your capacity is limited, and the full moon in Sagittarius is reminding you that life is not about how hard can you push yourself all the time. It's also about making sure that you're taking care of yourself so that you can enjoy the experiences, the success, and the journey. And so you really need to work smarter, not harder, and be more careful about your capacity, what you sign up for, and who you're choosing to give your energy to. So with the Page of Swords here, you are being given a curiosity that maybe isn't generating a lot of answers at this stage, but the full moon in Sagittarius is trying to leave you with this understanding of the fact that the world is your oyster. You have opportunities. There's a lot out there that if you wanted to, you could pursue. And there may be a new interest in something that is really piquing your curiosity and causing you to want to just sort of, whenever you have a free moment, do a little bit of research into it, have a conversation about it, scroll on social media looking for it. And so the full moon in Sagittarius is definitely, I would say this feels like a distraction, but because it's upright, the goal here is to help you learn new information, is to help you gain more information through secondary sources so that you can maybe try something, have, a little bit more of an understanding of how it works before you take it on board as a hobby, as an interest, as a new career path, or even with this new moon coming, it may be your next opportunity. And so now is the information stage where you're just gathering information through secondary sources. It's not too serious. You're a learner. You're here to get as much information as you can. And as you get information, you're gaining intelligence about this. You're able to have more of a critical understanding where you can use your discernment to know whether this is something you should take seriously. So it's the researching stage of a new opportunity, and it is something that piques your interest. You're curious about it. It's forming a little bit of an excitement within you in a way that feels like it's expanding your brain, your knowledge, your understanding of the possibilities. But it also feels like a little bit of a distraction because it's so exciting. At times it's distracting you from your other responsibilities when you're at work, or when you should be, hanging out with your friends or something like that. And so with the King of Wands, we can see that the full moon in Sagittarius is making you feel a little out of sorts, a little imbalanced. You're having a hard time balancing out the amount of energy that you give and the amount of energy that you invest into responsibilities, into the things that are important to you. It feels like you're a little bit scattered, but it also feels like with the King of Wands, you're having to reassess the trajectory of your life right now. Your ego may have taken a little bit of a beating in the lead up to the full moon, and something that you were maybe expecting to be really good at, you're now having to grapple with the idea that it didn't work out the way that you originally expected it to. And so you're back at the drawing board with this King of Wands, who to me is very heavily connected to Sagittarius. And while this may not be comfortable for you, all of this unknown, all of this feeling of almost failure, I just want to say you haven't failed. You've been massively redirected. Things outside of your control have happened. Things within your control have happened. And now you're being redirected, which is causing more tension, but it's also putting you and pointing you towards a new beginning. So before you even commit to that new beginning, with the King of Wands reversed, keep strategizing, keep planning, keep recharging, keep resting. And once you have enough inspiration, enough information, and a strong enough plan, you're gonna know when you need to act. And I feel like Cancer season is significant for you, Capricorn. That is your opposing sign, and you do generate almost a rebellious feeling during Cancer season where you just need to do things. Depending on your other placements, it is ultimately leading you towards wanting to do things, and this time wanting to be successful, and this time not wanting to feel like a failure, which you aren't. You're just being redirected. So that is what I'm seeing for you, Capricorn. I'm going to end your reading there. It was a little bit longer than I was planning. I hope it was helpful for you. It's been an absolute pleasure to connect. Subscribe if you want to be notified of when I post again. Give this video a thumbs up if it did resonate in any way. Give me feedback if you have any, especially if it didn't resonate or there's something about the way that I read that you would like to either suggest a topic on or suggest feedback about. I'm open to it, especially because I'm still growing this community. So it's a good chance to know who actually listens to these readings on this second channel. As we part ways, I wish you peace, prosperity, abundance, happiness, health, wealth, success, and joy on your journey ahead. Bye.